In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the parking brake shoes on your Nissan Armada. Located behind the rear wheels, let's get started. Using a 21mm socket, go ahead and remove the lug nuts. If you have issues removing the tire, what you can do is just put one lug nut back in, no matter which one you put in. Don't put it all the way, of course. And I'm gonna be using a mallet, and I'm gonna be hitting the tire from the inside. Remove the lug nut that we previously installed. And now we can go ahead and remove the tire. Moving to the back of the caliper, we're gonna go ahead and decompress the piston. But before we do so, we wanna go ahead and use a brake bottle. We're gonna go ahead and connect these to the brake bleeder. You wanna make sure that you install the bottle lower than the caliper itself. If your brake caliper has a cap on the bleeder, you go ahead and remove it. In this case, I'm using a small flathead. Go ahead and take it off. We're gonna go ahead and use a 10mm wrench. You're gonna put it on the bleeder, install the brake hose, and we're gonna go ahead and crack open the bleeder. Next, I'm gonna use a flathead screwdriver. I'm going to wedge it in between the rotor and the caliper. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put pressure and you're gonna see fluid come out of it. That means the piston is returning. Remove the flathead. We're going to go ahead and close the valve. It is important that we don't take the hose off before. It could introduce air. Now that it's closed, remove the hose, remove the wrench, and go ahead and install the cap. Go ahead and take off the bleeding bottle. And now we're ready to remove the caliper. We're gonna be removing the caliper with the bracket still attached to it. Using a 19mm socket, go ahead and remove this bolt. And now we can go ahead and remove this one. Now we can go ahead and grab the assembly, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna use a hook to just hook it on top of the whole suspension, just out of the way. Slide it out. Use one of the holes to hook it up. And one thing you wanna make sure, you don't wanna put any stress on the line. Go ahead and hook it up on top and out of the way. Next thing, we're gonna be removing the rotor from the hub. We're gonna be using one of the lug nuts. We're gonna go ahead and try to, not all the way, just a little bit, and this is gonna prevent the rotor from coming off and hitting the floor. Using a rubber mallet, I'm gonna go ahead and hit around this area to get it off. Make sure that you do not hit one of the studs. It will cause damage. So go ahead and hit around here just to break it loose. Now that it's loose, we can go ahead and grab the lug nut that we previously installed and take it off. Slide your rotor out. You can wiggle it side to side and get it out. Now that we have access to the shoes, one thing I like to mention before we get started is go ahead and take a picture on how everything on your vehicle is. That is just so you have a backup so you can go back and look at to make sure that you install everything the same way it comes out. We're gonna go ahead and use a needle nose pliers, and we're gonna be removing this spring that's located right over here. We're gonna start with that. Gonna grab onto one side and you're gonna slide it out. Make sure when you do this, you put your hand or something over so it doesn't fling over to your face. Go ahead and remove the spring. You can spread the shoes apart and remove the adjuster. Make sure you put this in a safe location. We don't want to lose it. We're gonna be reusing it. And we're gonna have another spring that looks just like this one right on the top. Let's go ahead and remove it. We're gonna be doing the same thing we did on the bottom. Go ahead and grab onto the spring and slide it out. Take the spring out. Using a flathead screwdriver, we're gonna go ahead and turn on this little holder. Being very careful, we're gonna put some pressure. We're gonna go in and we're gonna twist it to unlock it. And that's gonna release the brake shoe. There is gonna be another one on the opposite side. You're gonna be doing the same exact thing. To get better access to the clip, you might need to rotate the hub. Go ahead and do that. Now that you see it, you're gonna use the same screwdriver and do the same thing on this clip. Moving over to the bench, we're gonna go ahead and disassemble our adjuster for the brake shoes. All we need to do is just take it apart On this side, we're just gonna spin it off. What we need to do is just clean off all of the old lubrication that's on it and put new one. Next, we're gonna be using some brake parts cleaner, and we're gonna clean each of these pieces. Grab yourself a rag, spray some brake parts cleaner, wipe off any debris, and repeat this process with the other two pieces. On this piece, we're gonna make sure you spray some inside the hole to make sure we get rid of every debris that's inside of it. Go ahead and do the same on this small piece. Next up, we're gonna reassemble. We're gonna use some silicone paste. We're just gonna put a little bit on the threads, not that much. Go ahead and spin it. In this case, I'm gonna go all the way in. Since we're replacing the shoes, we're gonna be starting from scratch, so I'm gonna be adjusting it once it's on the vehicle. So go ahead and put it all the way. We're gonna be adding some to this too. And in all this, you wanna make sure that everything spins freely. You wanna go ahead and wipe off any excess. And now we're ready to install the shoes. Back of the vehicle, we're gonna go ahead and get the backing plate ready for the shoes. Using a wire brush, we're gonna go ahead and clean the surface where the shoes contact the backing plate. If you notice on the backing plate, there's gonna be these little ovals. It's gonna be all around the backing plate. What we need to do is clean those so we can get them re-greased. Using a wire brush, go ahead and clean them out. Now we're gonna use some brake parts cleaner and just wipe off all the debris. We're gonna go ahead and use some silicone paste, and we're gonna grease all of these spots that we previously cleaned. You do not need that much, just put a little bit. We don't want this getting on the shoes and or the rotor. Next up, we're gonna start by sliding one of the shoes in place. We're gonna go ahead and use one of the springs, slide it onto the hole, line it up with the backing plate. Once you line it up, go ahead and lock it in. We're gonna be repeating the process on the other side. But one thing to keep in mind, when you line it up, you wanna go ahead and line it up with the top, and you wanna make sure that this little bracket is slit on both sides. It should look something like this. Now we can go ahead and install the spring on this side. Once you line it up, go ahead and lock it in. It should look something like this. We're gonna go ahead and install the top spring. You can fit it on one side. Make sure you clip it in. Using a pair of needle nose pliers, we're gonna go ahead and install it onto the other. Next, we can go ahead and install the adjuster. Go ahead and line it up on one side. Push one of the shoes, line it up, and we can now install the spring. We're gonna do the same thing we did on the top spring. Fit it on one side, and using the pliers, we're gonna go ahead and clip it on. It should look something like that. Next up, we're gonna clean the hub so we can put the rotor in. We're gonna use a wire brush, and we're gonna just get rid of all the debris on this area. Depending on the rust buildup, you might have to do a little longer. Make sure you clean around all the studs. Next up, I'm gonna use some brake parts cleaner and just get rid of all the debris on the hub. Go ahead and wipe it off. Next up, I'm gonna be spraying some never sees onto the hub, and I cut out a little cardboard piece so I don't get spray onto the back of the shoes. I'll go ahead and slide it in, and I'm gonna go ahead and spray some. Next up, we're gonna go ahead and slide the rotor in. And for this, I'm gonna put it backwards just so I can clean the inside. I'm not gonna put it all the way so it doesn't get some of the never sees on. Using some brake parts cleaner, go ahead and spray the inside. Wipe off any excess oils that may be from machining. And we're gonna be doing the same with the outer edge. Go ahead and slide the rotor and put it on the right way. We're gonna be doing the same with this side. Next up, I just want to point one thing out. When we do adjust our shoes, we're gonna be doing it through this hole on the rotor. So just keep in mind that we're gonna be using a flathead screwdriver to rotate this little ring right here. And that's gonna be adjusting the shoes. So I'm gonna go ahead and slide it in. And you can always rotate the rotor. So like if you're over here and we need it to be over here, just go ahead and rotate it. And then you can see where we need to make the adjustment. Next up, I'm gonna go ahead and use a lock nut, and this is just to hold the rotor in place. I'm gonna go ahead and bottom it out by hand, the rotor in all the way, and just bottom it out. This is just gonna keep it in place so we can finish the installation. Go ahead and grab the caliper assembly and slide it on. Go ahead and install the bolts. Go ahead and get them snug. Now we can go ahead and torque the bracket to 116 foot-pounds. Now we can go ahead and adjust the shoes for the parking brake. One thing you gotta keep in mind, what we want is a little bit of resistance. Right now, as you can see, there is no resistance. So I'm gonna go ahead and use a flathead screwdriver and I'm gonna adjust the adjuster. You're gonna go ahead and rotate it. You're gonna listen for the clicks. You're gonna go ahead and do a couple of them, and then we're gonna check and see. Still too loose, so I gotta keep going. I'm starting to hear the pads make contact with the rotor, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it a couple more clicks. And now that I can feel some resistance, we should be all set. If your old rotor had the grommet, you will go ahead and swap them over now. In this case, ours was missing. Now we can go ahead and remove the lock nut that we previously installed. And now we can go ahead and reinstall the tire. Now we can go ahead and install the lock nuts by hand. Snug everything up in a star pattern. With the vehicle on the ground, we're gonna go ahead and torque the lug nuts to 98 foot-pounds in a star pattern.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.